Welcome to AVPD, Angleville Police Department. Angleville is a perfectly circular city with a radius of 1. All residents live exactly 1 unit from the center, forming the famous unit circle. Downtown is the east edge, the point 1,0, where Mr. Zero lives. Every resident is named based on their arc distance from downtown, in radians. But don't worry, they also go by nicknames in degrees. In this city, crimes are committed and you're the lead investigator. Each problem is a case file. You're given a clue, like sine equals 1/2, and your job is to find all the residents who match that clue. These are the suspects. Luckily, you're not alone. You have a brilliant assistant, Detective Cast. He knows exactly where each trig function is positive or negative in the city's 4 zones. With his help, and the use of inverse trig, reference angles, and quadrant logic, you will track down all suspects hiding in Angleville. Here at AVPD, clues usually come in the form of a coordinate, like sine equals 1/2, meaning y-coordinate is 1/2. Our first move is to figure out the suspect's family name, their reference angle. To do that, we use our calculator. We take the inverse trig of the clue. The reference angle is always a positive acute angle, the family name shared by all suspects who go by either plus or minus that same coordinate. Then we ask Detective Cast where in the city this kind of behavior is expected. Is sine positive? Cast tells us it's in quadrants 1 and 2. Now we use the reference angle and combine it with the quadrant info to find all possible suspects' full names. In this case, the clue is that the x-coordinate is negative 1/2. That's a cosine clue. So we pull out the calculator and ask for the inverse cosine of 1/2, since the reference angle is always positive. That gives us a reference angle of 60 degrees. That's the suspect's family name. Next, we consult Detective Cast. He reminds us that cosine is negative in zones 2 and 3. So we search for residents with a 60-degree family name living in those zones. We find 2 suspects going by the nicknames, 1 20 degrees and 2 40 degrees. That gives us our principal solutions. But just in case this turns into a recurring crime, we also write the general solution by adding full rotations of 360 degrees. This clue is a little more complicated, so we hand it over to AVPD's Quadratics Lab. They break down the evidence by factoring and report back with 2 possible coordinates. One suspect has a sine value of negative 1/2, the other has a sine value of negative 1. Time to investigate. The first suspect's y-coordinate is negative 1/2. We run that through inverse sine and find the reference angle is pi/6. Detective Cast tells us sine is negative in zones 3 and 4. So we identify 2 suspects, 7 pi/6 and 11 pi/6. For the second clue, sine equals negative 1. There's only 1 resident in all of Angleville who matches that description. His name is registered as 3 pi/2. Case closed. 3 suspects, all accounted for. Thanks to sine inverse, Cast, and our tireless specialists at Quadratics Lab. This case involves a tangent equation, which means things could get messy. We send it to the Quadratics Lab again, and they crack it using the quadratic formula. The result? 2 clues of tangent type. One is -1, a very familiar value for tangent around here. The other is 5/3. This value does not ring a bell, possibly not very special residents of Angleville. Let's start with the usual suspects. If tangent x is -1, we know from experience that suspects are 3π/4 and 7π/4. They've been arrested in previous investigations and have criminal records. Cast confirms these are valid zones. Tangent is negative in quadrants 2 and 4. Now, tangent x equals 5/3 is a more obscure clue. We run it through the calculator and find 2 decimal approximations within the interval. Since tangent has a period of pi, we simply add pi to the first one to get the second. So in total, we have 4 suspects. 2 we know by exact name, 2 we only know by approximation. But all 4 match the evidence, and that's enough to close the case. Detective Cast famously said after solving a complicated case, "In Angleville, no angle can hide forever. Give me a clue, a sign, a coordinate, and I'll find your suspects one by one." Our residence registry is exhaustive. We even know everyone's aliases in degrees. At AVPD, we succeed, invariably. Detective Cast won the Golden Protractor Award last year for outstanding service in quadrant detection. He's been cracking trig cases for decades, with nothing but inverse functions, reference angles, and a glare sharp enough to bisect a suspect. His motto? At AVPD, failure is not an option, only radians or degrees.